Wow, you're so clever. What a little genius. You're such a natural at this. As parents, these words feel so good to say, don't they? We see our child do something wonderful, stack a block, solve a puzzle, draw a picture, and we want to shower them with praise. We say these things because we love them and because we believe we're building their confidence, inspiring them to be great. But what if I told you that these exact words, the ones we use with the absolute best of intentions, could actually be damaging their confidence? What if they were teaching our children to fear challenges and crumble at the first sign of difficulty? Hi, I'm Sarah. I'm not a child psychologist. I'm a mom, probably a lot like you, who's on a mission to read all the studies and parenting books so you don't have to. And the research I'm about to share with you today, it's one of the most important and honestly one of the most surprising things I've ever found. It fundamentally changed how I praise my own kids. So let's start with the central puzzle. A child hears you say, "You're so smart." In their mind, that translates to a very simple, very powerful equation. I am loved because I am smart. It feels good, it feels safe. So how on earth does this create a problem? Well, it's because it sets an incredibly high bar. It establishes an identity that they feel they must protect at all costs. And this is where the fear begins to creep in. When they're faced with a real challenge, a difficult math problem, a new sport, a complicated Lego set, a little voice in their head starts to whisper, "What if I try this and I fail? What if I can't do it? What if they find out I'm not so smart after all? Will they still love me?" To understand this, I want you to imagine something. Imagine you hand your child a beautiful, sparkling, but incredibly fragile glass trophy. And on that trophy, engraved in gold, is the word SMART. You tell them, "This is you. This is who you are." Now, how do you think they'll treat that trophy? They'll be terrified of dropping it. They'll carry it with stiff arms, their shoulders tense. When other kids are running around the playground, they'll stay on the sidelines, clutching their trophy, because what if they trip and it gets scratched? When a ball game starts, they'll refuse to play, because what if the ball hits the trophy and it shatters into a million pieces? That glass trophy is the SMART label, and to protect it, children will subconsciously start to avoid any situation that poses a risk. They'll choose the easier puzzle. They'll stick to the book they've already read. They will actively avoid the very challenges that are essential for them to grow, to stretch their abilities, and to learn that it's okay to fail. They become so busy protecting their image of being smart, they stop doing the things that actually make them smarter. Now, I know this might sound like a bit of a stretch. You might be thinking, "Come on, Sarah, is it really that serious?" And my answer is yes. And this isn't just a theory. It has been proven in one of the most landmark studies in modern psychology. This is the work of renowned Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck and her colleagues. And when I first read through it, I had to put my coffee down and just sit with it for a while. Here's what they did. They took a large group of fifth graders, hundreds of them, and gave them all a fairly easy nonverbal puzzle test. Everyone did pretty well. But afterwards, the researchers divided the children into two groups and praised them in two very different ways. To the first group, they gave what is called intelligence praise. They said simply, "Wow, you did really well. You must be smart at this." To the second group, they gave effort praise. They said, "Wow, you did really well. You must have worked really hard." One sentence. A tiny, almost unnoticeable difference. But what happened next, and in the phases that followed, would change our understanding of motivation and success forever. Okay, so this brings us to phase 2 of the study, the choice. After receiving their praise, the researchers told every child, "We have another test for you. You can choose one. One is easier than the first one. You'll be sure to get them all right. The other one is much harder. You might not get them all right, but you'll probably learn a lot." Now think about those two groups. One was just told they were smart. The other was just told they were hard workers. What would you expect them to choose? The results were staggering. Of the children who were praised for being smart, a full 67%, that's 2 out of every 3, chose the easier test. They ran from the challenge. They chose to protect their smart label rather than risk it. But the effort-praised group, the results were an almost perfect mirror image. A jaw-dropping 92% of them chose the harder test. They ran towards the challenge. They were excited by the chance to learn, even if it meant they might fail. But the study didn't end there. This is where it gets really jaw-dropping. This is phase 3, the performance. Next, the researchers gave all the children a very difficult test, one designed to be way above their level. The goal was to make them experience struggle and failure. As you'd expect, nobody did well. The smart kids, who believed success should be easy for them, were mortified. They grew frustrated and anxious. You could see the stress on their faces. The effort kids, on the other hand, didn't sweat it. They buckled down, they stayed focused. Many of them were observed whispering to themselves, "I love a challenge," and reported actually enjoying the difficult test more. And now for the final crucial part. The researchers gave one last test, which was at the same level of difficulty as the very first one. This was the moment to see what effect the experience had on their actual performance. The results? The group that was praised for being smart, the kids who were told they had a special gift, their scores dropped by an average of 20%. Their brief encounter with failure was so devastating, it shattered their confidence and their performance plummeted. And the effort-praised group, the kids who were told their success came from hard work, their scores surged by nearly 30%. For them, the difficult test wasn't a failure. It was a warm-up. It was a lesson. It energized them. Let's just pause on that. A single sentence of praise created a nearly 50-point performance swing between the two groups. Those numbers are stunning, aren't they? Does this study change how you think about praise? Let me know your biggest takeaway in the comments below. I read every single one. Because what does a 20% drop in scores actually feel like for a child? Let's step out of the lab and into your child's inner world for a moment. When we praise their intelligence, we're sending an accidental hidden message. And that message is, the name of the game is to look smart. The goal is to perform. The most important thing is to never, ever risk making a mistake. So for that child, a single red X on a math test isn't just a mistake. It's a catastrophe. It's a direct threat to their identity, to that feeling of being loved for being smart. The voice in their head isn't, "Oh, I need to practice that." The voice is, "Oh no, I messed up. Does this mean I'm not smart anymore?" And this fear is poison. It causes them to become cautious and timid. It makes them crumble at the first sign of real difficulty. And maybe, worst of all, it can even lead them to hide their mistakes, to stuff the bad test into the bottom of their backpack, because they are terrified of disappointing you. They are afraid of losing that smart label, and with it, they fear your approval. So if that's the problem, what is the solution? Is it to stop praising our kids altogether? No, of course not. The good news is the solution is simple and incredibly powerful. It's not about stopping praise. It's about changing what we praise. We need to stop praising the fixed trait, the thing they can't control, and start praising the things they can control. We need to praise the process, the strategy, and the effort. Let me give you some concrete examples. First, praise the process and the strategy. Let's say your child is struggling to reach a toy on a shelf. They look around, grab a small stool, and triumphantly get their toy. Instead of, "You're so clever," try, "I noticed you were struggling to reach your toy, but you didn't give up. You looked around and got creative with that stool. That was great problem solving." Second, praise the specific achievement, not the person. Your child puts on their own shirt for the first time. Instead of, "What a big, smart boy you are," try, "Look at that! You put your shirt on all by yourself. You got your head and both arms through the right holes." Or for a drawing, instead of, "You're such a great artist," try, "Wow, I love all the bright colors you used in this drawing. Tell me about this part here." And finally, and most importantly, praise the effort and perseverance. This is the big one. Your child has been working on a block tower and it keeps falling down. They get frustrated, but they try again. Instead of a generic, "Good job," get down on their level and say, "You have been working so hard to build that tower. I saw you keep trying and trying even when it fell down." That's called perseverance, and it's amazing to watch. When you praise effort, strategy, and process, you teach your child that mistakes aren't verdicts. They are just part of learning. They internalize a new, much more powerful belief. It's not about being smart. It's about trying hard. And if I keep trying, I'll get it eventually. This is how we build true, unshakable confidence. Not the fragile glass trophy kind, but the resilient, sturdy, deep-rooted kind that allows them to face the world with courage and an eagerness to learn. We teach them that our love isn't conditional on their perfection. Our love is the safe ground they can always return to, especially after they've tried something hard and failed. If this video gave you a new tool for your parenting toolkit, please consider subscribing to the channel. I'm Sarah, and my mission is to keep bringing you this kind of research so we can all navigate this beautiful, messy journey of parenthood together. I'll see you in the next one.